Greetings, guys, gals, non-binary pals, and welcome back to another video. Something that we are no stranger to here on this channel and just in our lives is bad parents. It is something that we talk about a lot over here. It is something that I think a lot of us find a lot of both horror in, while also validation. You know, it's good sometimes to feel horrifyingly validated through other people's experiences. And so that is why we come together and we just talk about some bad parents, whether that be overbearing or strict or just like the most ridiculous things. We sit down, we have a talk, and that is what we are doing today. But before we do get into it, I would like to say a massive thank you to today's patron of the day, Lou. I appreciate you greatly, and I hope that you enjoy this video. If anyone else would like to become a patron, you go to patreon.com/savvycat. It starts at as little as £1 a month, and I appreciate it greatly. Okay, so let's get into our daily dose of insane parents. So we start off with this screenshot from TikTok, and it's a mother talking about her very small child. And it says, how to get your kids to eat more protein? Answer is simple. Don't give them a choice. Our house has no sugar, grains, or processed foods. We even limit fruit until he has eaten enough protein. Did you just say no grains? So like no bread, no rice, no pasta? Like that's like no carbs almost, right? Like that's fucking ridiculous. Oh my god. Like, it's bad enough to not do sugar and processed foods, and like cutting out entire food groups in itself is terrible, but no grains as well? What are you eating? Like, what are you eating? And you're limiting fruit as well. There is such a massive issue with like almond moms, as they're called. Maybe I should make a video about almond moms. I might do that. We'll come back to that later. But there's such a massive issue with that, with like parents controlling their kids' food like so intensely, cutting out entire food groups and setting like really strict food rules. Like that is not the positive thing that you think it is. That's just instilling bad views of food and encouraging eating disorders. Like that's what it is. So many people who are raised with these types of parents and like strict food rules are going to develop eating disorders, whether that be restrictive because they spend their childhood being told food needs to be restricted, or like binge eating disorder because they've never been given the opportunity to like control their own food and eat what they want to eat. Like it's setting kids up for eating disorders. And it's ridiculous that they don't seem to realize this or don't seem to care, because I guess they have eating disorders themselves and are just putting that onto their kids as well. But like it is not a good thing to cut out entire food groups. You shouldn't be teaching your kids like this food is bad and this food is good. You're meant to be teaching your kids balance. You can eat sugar, you can eat processed foods, you can eat whatever you want as long as you also eat other things. You can get enough protein because you tell them why it's important to eat enough protein. And you just encourage balance. And if you give them the food in a way that is enjoyable and you tell them why it's good and then you eat it as well, you're likely to raise someone with good food morals. Don't restrict food intake and don't tell kids that food is good or bad, because food is not good or bad. It's just different. It has different nutritional value and you just eat different amounts of it at different times of day, whatever. Just stop controlling your kids' food so intensely. This is a text between a daughter and her mother, and it starts with her mom texting, I figured it would be a lot on you next weekend and I can't come over to you. Saturday is Miss Blank's mom's memorial. Sunday, Dad and I work the bingo, unless it's cancelled. I don't want you over here next weekend. I know. Plus, if you were here, it would probably get in the way. Like I said, Saturday to Monday, I have stuff going on. It kind of sounds dismissive, like you don't need us in your life. I did not say that. It sounds that way. We've always enjoyed Memorial Day. Cousin is already crying over it. Yesterday was a year that her spouse went into the hospital. We were both crying. No, but when you're here, it's hard to relax when you're asking what I'm doing or why I'm watching something. Good grief. Of course it's all my fault. Of course. Thanks a lot, Mum. You gave us enough. I don't need you anymore. Bye. Thanks. I did not say any of that. Yes, you did. You can't relax with me? I enjoy and look forward to visits. I did not say I don't need you. Well, that's good, but I need you too. And my daughter enjoys the visits too. but I also need me time and it's few and far between. I hope so. I miss her every single day and thought and prayed for her in church that she would start walking and talking. You are a mom. There's never me time. I would go to school and never have 5 minutes alone. I'd get you at sitter or you'd ride home with me as you got to school age, and I couldn't even send you across the street to grandma because she was gone. Yes, I know there's no time, but a few minutes to myself would be nice once in a while. It's called a nap time, I guess. The entitlement. I love how many like ellipses were in here. I didn't say them out loud, but like every sentence from the mother, there was like 5 full stops because I don't know. I don't know why. Just felt necessary for some reason. But like, I just don't know why mothers, like these mothers, take everything so personally and take it so to heart. Like her just being like, I kind of just want me time this weekend. I don't get very much downtime and it can be stressful entertaining people. And she's just there like, oh, so you don't love me? Oh, so you don't need me? I see how it is. You just don't care about me anymore. You're done with me now that you're an adult. Like, no one said that. Literally no one said, you said that. No one said that. You don't need to read into these messages as anything more than what they are. It's not that deep. Sometimes people just need alone time. Sometimes people just need to like be with themselves, even if it is only 5 minutes. Like, calm down. It's okay. You can see her again some other time. Your granddaughter will be there some other time. She's allowed to have peace and quiet. Like, chill out. Oh my God. So this person is having a conversation with their dad because their dad took $20,000 out of their account. Now this account only had $17,000 in it. So now they are $2,000 in debt because their bank accounts are connected. I don't know why. I don't have more information than that. I assume they're like a young adult. And so it's like the savings they've had, you know, since living at home and just haven't disconnected their bank accounts. That's what I'm assuming. Anyway, regardless, dad took 20 grand out of an account that had 17 grand in it. Oh my God. And the conversation goes like this. They sent their dad a screenshot of the bank account, like losing this money, and said, I don't appreciate this. Will please give me time to solve the issue? You didn't even put... I got a Tamagotchi and she died just before I started filming, and I made the decision to hatch a new one before I started filming because I didn't think about it and I forgot how needy the little tiny babies are. So I apologize. I've got to like tend to her real quick so she doesn't fucking scream at me. You didn't even put the other 100 back in, let alone the fact that you put me 2,500 under. Somehow, how does that happen? Once is a mistake. Stop, will you? I'm about to drink now. Stop it. Well, maybe I wouldn't be freaking out if I wasn't suddenly put in debt. Give me time. Don't you guilt trip me. You are fine. Don't even try. Stop. You stop. I'm having a crisis too. Just calm down and I will resolve it. I'm not asking you to understand, but for your patience. I have a lot of work to do and a lot of people to provide for. I have a lot of issues this week with my accounts. Whatever the issues are, I need time to solve them. When am I getting my money back? I'd like to not be in the negatives. On. Next week. I have to get all my deposits in my new account. My account got hacked, so I had to get a new account open. What day next week? Friday. Please follow through this time. I don't need my account drained any further. I'm begging you, please fix this. I need an actual positive amount in my account. I can't do anything while I'm in debt. I don't know what you're doing, but you cannot keep taking more and more from me. I'm literally in the negatives when I had over 17,000 before, not to mention the fact that I had to go into my savings because you wouldn't pay for mom's car after specifically saying that you would. I can't keep doing this. I'm not going to jeopardize my own financial situation to fund whatever games you're playing. Fix the problems that you started. I don't care what you have going on. You are screwing me over. Just like you have over and over. I will put your money back next week, and from now on, you are on your own. I know you won't sign the 2 pieces of land back to me. Don't ever call or ask me for anything. I don't need your drama, your crappy attitude. Money takes time to transfer. Goodbye. I don't understand how the fact I was upset about you, A, not telling me anything about my own money, B, putting me in the negatives and not responding when I bring it up. C, trying to guilt trip me with what you know for a fact was my biggest fear for you is all attitude, but whatever. And with the land, you literally sold it already and didn't tell me until months afterwards through passing. I don't have the land anymore, according to you. You want to keep playing victim? Go ahead. I just don't like being screwed over. And then the dad made a group chat with them and I'm assuming their other kid. You two have disrespected me for the last time. I will sell off all assets and pay off all loans and give your mom the balance. I will be out of your lives for good. I am powerless to defend myself against my own children. I would crush you if you were not my kids. The net thing for me to do is to leave you alone. You are on your own from now on. I will trash your $15,000 and you can open another account in another bank and I will close your account. This does not make me sad, but liberated from your abusive behavior. I told you I would crush you like a bug if you were not my kid. I won't be asking you to anything for me anymore since you are beyond lazy. Goodbye. I am obsessed with like stealing $20,000 from your kid. And then when they're like, hey, what the fuck? Can I have my money back? You turn around and are like, you're abusing me. How dare you? I'm not tolerating this abusive behavior from you. What? Tell me where. Show me anywhere at all where anything was said that could even remotely hurt you. This is just straight up someone asking for their money back. The way that so many parents do just try to spin situations completely and be like, yeah, well, like you're my kid, so you have to be nice to me. I gave you everything. I raised you. So you just saying no to me, that's abuse. Like, bro. Also here being like, I'll give you the $15,000. You took $20,000, not 15, $20,000. You need to give all of that back. Now, I would love to say in this situation you need to get the cops involved, but I don't know how it works if your bank accounts were joined. Like, legally, is he able to steal that 20 grand because the bank accounts are joined? Like, I don't know how it works, but I do hope that this person went and got their own bank account that their dad did not have any access to, because oh my God, what the fuck? Oh my God. Imagine stealing $20,000 off your kid. Imagine waking up one day and having $20,000 stolen off of you from a parent and then having that somehow be your fault. Hey, maybe don't take money that you can't pay back. By the way, this person didn't get their money back. They still haven't got their money back. I don't know how long it's been, but like it had been over the week and the money had not returned to them. And that surely can't be legal. That surely cannot be legal. How do you play the victim in this situation? In what world could you possibly spin this situation so that you, someone who took 20 grand from their kid, is the victim? Astounding. I hope that he stayed true to his word and did just give them the money back eventually and also did just remove himself from their lives, because like they deserve better than a dad who's gonna steal $20,000 from them. Fucking hell. Oh my God. Here's another text conversation, because a lot of these text conversations between someone and their mother, and their mom's contact name is Spawn Point, and that's fucking brilliant. That's so funny. And it starts with their mom texting them, I saw your Spotify last night. You listened to Back to the USSR. Please tell me my daughter isn't a communist. It isn't right. Question mark. It's a Beatles song, lol. Fine, traitor. Traitor to what? The song's not even meant to be political. And then she sent the lyrics, which, of course, are not even remotely political. I guess the Beatles were traitors too then. What do you mean? The Beatles are English, lol, not American. No, they were American. They were literally an English rock band. Stop it. You're being disrespectful. I was alive when the Beatles were together. You weren't. The Beatles broke up in 1974. You were born in 1980. Fine. If you want to be disrespectful and rude like that, don't come back home this summer. Don't call your sister either. I doubt she'll respond. What? This is the biggest overreaction to something I have ever seen. Oh my God. Like, the absolute need to be right, that you say the most incorrect thing and then refuse to like budge to the point where you're like, I don't even want to talk to you, child. Don't even come home this summer. I don't want to see you because you have facts correct that literally everyone knows and is easily available on Google, and won't accept that I'm right. What? Like, I'm sorry, just in general, just a question. How do you not know that the Beatles are an English rock band? I'm going to fucking lose my mind. How do you not know that the Beatles were English? How are you unaware that the Beatles were not American? And why are you claiming they were together when you were alive? If it was like years before you were born when they broke up, like you surely knew that information. That information is readily available to everyone. And yet you're still insistent on being like, no, you're wrong, actually. And I'm right, and how dare you disagree? I don't want to talk to you anymore, and neither does your sister. What? You know what? You don't deserve to see your kid over summer. Like, you just don't. You don't. I hope that they had a great summer without you. Because what the fuck? This is a Facebook post. Creative worship this morning. We asked the Holy Spirit to speak as we painted, and I wrote what was spoken. God, teach us to teach our children more about you than ABCs and who is the best at whatever. And then it's just photos of their kids painting, and she wrote like scriptures on some paper. And my question here for you is that, like, if you aren't teaching your kids their ABCs, if you aren't teaching your kids how to read and write, how are they gonna read their scriptures later on? You know? Like, you're here being like, teach my kids about you. I want to teach my kids about God, not their letters. That's unimportant. That's like way less important than learning about God. But how are they gonna be learning about God if they can't read and write? Like, how can they read their Bibles if they don't know how to read their Bibles? Like, reading and write, like, they're really, really important skills. They are incredibly important. You should definitely be teaching your kids how to read. If not because they are just important skills to have, then at least do it so they can do their Bible studies correctly. If that's going to be your only motivator, if God is your only motivator, then please teach them to read so they can read the Bible. I just imagine not sending your kids to school and letting God teach them through painting, because that's more important than the alphabet. Here's another text conversation between a father and his son. Son, I hope you're doing good. I know you're away from home in California. Is it possible to send your mom some allowance every month? I can't not give her an allowance. It's so hard to make ends meet. I think I have under our estimated need. I would say $200 a month would make her very happy. Let me know what you think. Dad. I'm sorry to bother you. It's not possible yet, Dad. I start loan payments next month and we're saving for the wedding and the house. I can reconsider once I'm a bit more established. Okay. It is common practice in Korean culture for children to show gratitude and filial piety. I don't know how to pronounce that. Filial piety by buying presents for their parents when they secure a job or achieve a significant milestone in their lives. It is seen as a way of expressing appreciation for the parents' love, support, and sacrifices throughout their child's upbringing. The type of gift can vary, but it is often something meaningful or practical that the parents would appreciate. This tradition reflects the importance of family and respects for parents in Korean society. You make your mom cry so much. She thinks she's not even worth $200 a month. You are so ungrateful. I am so ashamed that you are my son. I hope you'll be rich with money saved. I am not so sure who influences you'll be like this. I am so disappointed. I want you to send $200 every month end to my account using Zelle from next month. You cannot just expect your kid to give you $200 a month. That is not your kid's responsibility. Ever. Your child does not owe you $200 a month. Oh my God, get over yourself. You cannot come in here and try to use your culture to guilt trip your child into giving you $200 a month. That is not his responsibility. I love being like, the gift has to be meaningful and it can vary from person to person, just something that your parents will appreciate to show your respect. That is not That is not the same thing as a $200 a month allowance. Like, a gift is typically a like one-time purchase. A gift can be anything. $200 a month isn't a gift. You should not be putting like monetary value on like the cost of your parenthood, especially when like your child is an adult who is living his life independently away from you now and has his own expenses to pay and is clearly paying off loans and saving up for a wedding and a house. Like, they can't afford to pay $200 a month to you. It's not his fault. Your mom is crying because she doesn't even think she's worth $200 a month. Like, no. You can't put a price on being a parent. That's not how this works. It's not how this works. And giving you money is not the same as giving you respect. So if you are equating respect with money, that's on you. And I don't think that's very good cultural practice either. So maybe you need to do some reflecting, because what the fuck? This is another Facebook post from a mother that says, since I'm already pretty upset, I never buy her new shoes. Usually can find some nice hand-me-downs through our Buy Nothing group, or she gets some from blank when she goes to Kelly. Well, about 6 weeks ago, I bought her 3 pairs from Walmart. Brand new. A pair of nice dress shoes for church, a pair of shoes for the pool and general outside summer play, and a pair of tennis shoes. These tennis shoes, destroyed in less than 2 months. I spent around $50 on shoes for her. Won't do that again. Starting tonight, no more pool, no more bowling, no more riding her bike around the neighborhood or playing outside. No more library, no more anything until she can get her act together. We fly to Kelly this weekend. She will likely stay there for a month or so, and I will come back and clean and remove everything that isn't necessary for her survival. I am on the verge of breaking. And for context, this kid is 9 years old and also is not allowed any screen time. So most play happens like outside. And neither of those things even really matter. They just kind of add to like the fucked upness in terms of the fact of like, you have a 9-year-old kid who doesn't have screen time, so spends all her time playing outside, which involves a lot of running around in her shoes. And you spent $50 on 3 pairs of shoes. That's like $17 per pair of shoes. And you think they're going to last? You give her like a $17 pair of shoes to wear every day while running around outside as a 9-year-old. And you think it's gonna last longer than 6 weeks? It's just not. They're not made to last that long. And this is a child who's running and playing. That's just what happens. That's just how it goes. If you want her shoes to last longer, you need to buy some better quality shoes, I think. That's what you're gonna have to do. If you expect them to last longer, you have to pay more for them. And I really, really do not think that like taking away everything from her life is a fit punishment for wearing shoes. She wore her shoes, and that results in taking away joy? Like, what? What? You shouldn't have kids, I think, is the takeaway from this. If you're going to punish your child for wearing shoes, you shouldn't have kids. The solution here is to get better shoes or not care if they get a bit beat up, because they're gonna get a bit beat up, or let your kid play in bare feet. I don't know where you live. I don't know the area. Maybe that is unsafe. But where I'm from, we just run around and play in bare feet all the time. We don't wear shoes as kids. We're on the playground, we're in the park, we're just not wearing shoes. And if that's safe to do, then you save yourself an issue there, don't you? This is another conversation between a mother and their child, and the mother's like name is just the middle finger emoji, which I think really speaks volumes, doesn't it? Where are you? Carlos, why isn't your location on? I'm going to take your phone away. Mom, I have my own apartment. I pay for my own phone. I pay rent. I have my own car. I'm not going to have you tracking my phone and letting you see what I'm doing and my search history. The last time I checked, you were selling drugs and smoking cigarettes with your little gang friends. 1, I was 16 and 17 and I quit both. And my friends are actually good people, unlike someone I'm currently talking to over text right now. I'm taking you to church. I'm on my way now. There isn't mass at 6 p.m. on a Tuesday. This person's 22, by the way. So I love the, like, last I checked being 6 years ago. Like, you haven't checked for a while then, have you? Not really been keeping up to date with what your kid's doing. And for someone who seems to not know a single thing about your child, you really seem to want to know a lot, like need to know a lot. Why? How? How are you threatening to take away the phone of your kid who is an adult that doesn't even live with you? How is that something that occurs? How does that even come through your mind? Hey, turn on your location or I'm gonna take your phone. Ma'am, that is a grown-ass adult who doesn't owe you shit. Who doesn't live with you. Like, what are you doing? What are you doing? That level of entitlement is fucking ridiculous. Imagine if your mother did that to you. That's what always makes me laugh about these things, is that these parents are obviously also fully grown adults living independent lives, and they have these like over-controlling things where they're telling their grown-ass adult children to send them their location. Imagine if their parents did that to them now. They would be like, what the fuck? Why do I owe you that? I'm an adult. It's like, yeah, exactly. You're an adult. Your kid is an adult. You need to let go. You shouldn't have even been doing that shit when they were younger either. But like, come on. Come on. The threat is ridiculous. You try to steal your kid's phone and you're gonna get arrested because it's not your property. Once again, another conversation between mother and child. Have you considered that I'm tired of listening to your problems? It's not only exhausting, it's annoying. I'm not your therapist. I am your mother. I didn't say you were my therapist. I answered honestly when you asked me how I was doing. And I mean, I'm not a parent or anything, but if I knew that I was one of the first people my kid came to when they felt sad or upset about something, it would comfort me to know they trusted me enough to seek out my help if they needed it. So I must be the worst mother in the world then. That line. Mom, I didn't say that either. All I know is that I never felt entitled enough to ask my parents for anything. I never assumed that past 18 they owed me help or assistance. Since you think it must be so easy to be a parent, I hope you do become one. I hope you have a daughter just like you. Maybe then you'll realize that even though I may not have been the best mother on the planet, you weren't the easiest child to deal with either. I don't think it's easy to be a parent, but I do think that I was and am your kid, and that when I have one of my own, I plan to do things differently. I hope I have a daughter just like me too. I think it would be incredibly easy to love her. That last line, like, fucking is so beautiful and powerful. And I saw people talking about this on Twitter the other day of like, yeah, having a kid who's just like you and realizing how easy they are to love. Like, ouch. Such a lovely revelation to come to though. Like such a lovely realization to be like, if you felt unlovable as a kid, but then you have a kid like you, to realize that it was never your fault. You are lovable. You just had crappy people around you. And I know that you can tell yourself that, and you know that as an adult it was never your fault because you were a kid, but that like validation is like both painful and beautiful. But anyway, the whole conversation, it's fucking, that line of being like, if I was a mother, I would be happy my kid came to talk to me, and just turning around and being like, oh, so I'm the worst mother in the world then? It's like, oh my God, why did you jump there? No one said that. You're the one reading into that. If that's how you interpret that, if that's how you feel, then that sounds like you have some healing to do. That's some reflecting that you've got to do on your behalf. And then switching and turning that, being like, I might not have been the best mom, but you weren't the best kid. Like, fucking hell. This just started with her being like, I'm not doing too great at the moment. I'd like to have a conversation with my mother. And it turned into just being insulting and horrible. But there's no need. There was literally no need. It's so immature. Just like, have a conversation like an adult. Please. I didn't feel entitled to anything from my parents when I was past 18. Okay, then maybe you had crappy parents too. Like, Maybe you shouldn't be trying to be your parents. Maybe you should be trying to be the best parent for your kid. I didn't feel like I needed anything from my parents. I didn't want anything from them. Okay, but surely you want your kid to trust you. Surely you want to have a good relationship with your kid. Apparently not. Another text conversation between mother and child. Is there something wrong that you don't want to accept a gift of outdoor furniture from us? I'd really like to know and understand. It seems like there's some growing issues between us, and I'd like us to resolve whatever it is. No, I just have a lot on my plate and things slip through the cracks. That is the same reason why I haven't ordered our dehumidifier yet, along with a dozen other things that I am trying to keep up with. We both really appreciate you guys being willing to get us patio furniture, we just have not sat down and looked at it together yet. I love you, but we do need to talk about boundaries today when I stop by. What do you mean? What have I done? It would be better to have a conversation face to face, I think. I don't think so. What's the problem? This is a conversation I want us to have in person to reduce any miscommunication. You know what? I'll just have your dad bring your stuff to you and we'll be done. I'll be out of your life. You don't have to talk to me, answer my texts, come over here, or even let me do things for you. I'll send you the bill for what you owe me, and when it's paid, we'll separate our banking accounts. No worries, I'm out. Wow, not what I was expecting. You'd rather opt out of my life instead of having an adult conversation in just a few hours? If that's how you'd like to play it, I will respect your decision, but that is not what I wanted. I believe I'm just giving you what you want. I've tried so hard to be a part of your life, but you just keep shutting me out. It's not what I want. I just have to keep my sanity, and constantly getting my heart stomped on is having a significant impact on my health. It's become obvious that you don't want to spend time with me, you don't want to text or talk with me about your life, we are no longer close. I don't know what else to do. Just outline your boundaries here for me so I understand what the problem is from your perspective. I really need the outline, please. You can believe that if you want, but it's not true. I'm not sure where you're getting that I don't want to spend time with you, as I'm trying to set up a conversation in person. When you're ready to do that, let me know. Again, I love you, whether you want to believe that or not. I'm trying to make it so our relationship can be better, not worse. Then what are the boundaries? Again, we can talk about that in person. That's all I'm saying over text. Well then, we're done talking. I'm out of your life. You and have a nice one. Hope you're both very happy together. Got it. And then they stopped sharing their location. Log out of Prime Video. You no longer have permission to use it, and you no longer have access to my Prime account. You'll get the latest order coming this well, then you'll be done using it. You can also make your appointment with, as we won't be going together. If that's what you want, I will respect it. You give up so easily. You confirm what I suspected. You'll need to come get your storage stuff or I'll be getting rid of it. No, I'm just not fighting you on this or chasing you. I told you multiple times I wanted to talk in person, but you made it clear it had to be your way or else I'm not your daughter anymore. I'm not falling for that type of manipulation. And okay, when is your deadline for picking up my storage stuff? Yep, I knew manipulation was going to be thrown at me. I can't be accused of that if you're not around. I asked for boundaries. It alphas to be on your terms. Manipulation? Huh, it goes both ways. Ask your dad about your stuff. Telling you I want to talk in person about boundaries is not manipulation. You don't want me around. I'm not going to be around. You haven't loved and respected me as your mom in years. I can still remember being told to get away from you in stores. Your way or the highway is exactly what you're accusing me of, but it's the same. My heart is breaking. Is yours? That's the difference between us. You want me out of your life. I'm finally ready to stop being disappointed and having my heart stomped on. When and if you want me as a real person in your life, I want that. I'm just not that important to you, and I have to take care of me now. That means setting my own boundary and not being the whipping post anymore. I'm sure they all covered now. Oh my god, that was much longer than I expected. It just kept going. This is ridiculous. A ridiculous overreaction. Oh my god. I love that just started with, we need to have a conversation about boundaries, and just went into being like, you hate me, you manipulate me, you don't want me in your life. Like, where did you draw all of this from? Imagine being so afraid to have a conversation about boundaries that you then cut your daughter out of your life and somehow make it into her fault. I so respect how she was handling this though, the daughter, like in the way of like not ever losing her cool like was anticipated, like not apologizing, not walking back, nothing, just carrying on, staying very like explaining what was going on and being like, I'm just asking to set boundaries. You can do what you want. If you want to end the relationship, you can do that, because it just makes the mother look more and more ridiculous as it goes, as she tries to dig in further and further. The manipulation was being attempted, and the way it was not being like taken on board was so frustrating for her. And it was so funny to watch that sort of happen, and just trying so hard to get under her skin and having it just not work, having it fall apart completely. And I'm really curious to know what happened like 3 days later. Like, what was the aftermath of this? Because obviously it's not actually what her mother wanted. This is not how she wanted the conversation to go. She just wanted to be told the boundaries over text so that she could blow up and miscommunicate and like get mad and defensive over text and not in person. And I love that she was just not given that. She was just not given the chance, and it just made her look fucking ridiculous, because she is ridiculous. That's so good. Good on you for never caving in that. It is so easy to be like, to be told that and be like, oh, I'm sorry, yeah, I'll just, because it's like overwhelming and it's scary and it's hard when someone that you love and have been taught that you have to like love and respect and whatever, like starts being like mad at you and threatening to end a relationship, and you do sort of start to question yourself because you just want it to be over and get through this uncomfortableness. So sticking it out is like truly incredibly admirable, and I love the way that this played out. And like, you know, no fucking loss really, is it? It's on her to take the step to fix the relationship. If she wants, she can do that, and like, you know, responsibility free. When you've tried to set boundaries and she won't respect them, that's on her. Just, I'm obsessed with the way this was handled, and I fucking laugh so much at how some of these like narcissistic mothers respond and act and try to manipulate and turn it back on you. And it's like fucking astounding. It's horrible. It's horrible. It's not funny. It's like truly terrible, and it sucks so bad. But as an adult, when you're in the position of having power and control over the situation, and like you aren't at the mercy of said parent, like you don't have to have a perfect relationship because you don't live with them, like it literally doesn't matter. It's so good. It's brilliant to just watch and then feel validated, being like, okay, no, this has always entirely been on her. I am going to do one last one, and this is a text conversation between someone and their dad. So this person is like temporarily living with their dad, who is a gun nut in the States. Just keep that in mind. Hey dad, I'll have a ride home. I'll be getting one with an earlier shift, so I'll be home about 12:30ish. And then after getting home, texted, next time, instead of freaking out, can you please just ask if it's me? Like, I feel like I was literally a second from getting my head blown off. Probably because I was. Thanks. Lol, you weren't even close. Thanks for the vote of confidence. I didn't see this earlier. Thanks for the apology for scaring me. Don't worry about it. So, she got home from work early, and her dad hadn't seen the text that was happening. And so the correct response to obviously someone coming into the house at the wrong time was to pick up a gun and point it at them. And then not even apologize. Not even apologize. You pointed a gun at your kid, and she was like, hey man, maybe don't fucking do that. And you're like, yeah, but I didn't kill you. And? What the fuck? What the fuck? If your child or anyone, if there are people staying with you in your house and they're not home, and you know they're going to get home at some point in like the early morning, and then even if it's not the right time, you hear someone come into the house, you really should just assume that it's that person. You know, like, how is the first thing you do grabbing a gun? Like, my first thought would be, oh, they must be back home early. But no, nope. It just seems very much that this man just wants to shoot someone with the excuse of trespassing, because like, that should not be the first reaction that you have. That's terrifying. Like, if it's that easy to get into your house, you're clearly not trying very hard to deter people. Like, you could get a Ring doorbell if you're that paranoid. You could get higher security if you're that paranoid, instead of just like listening for someone coming to the door and then picking up your gun and being like, I can shoot someone. That's so scary. That's so scary. I find it so terrifying, the idea that like people just do that too. Like, will kill an invader of their house. Putting your property over the life of someone is so horrifyingly fucked up to me. Someone could come into my house and take everything I own. Literally, they could take everything I own. And there's not a single piece of me that would want them dead, let alone at my own hands. There is really nothing anyone could do that would ever make me want to kill them. There's pretty much nothing, I would say. And it's astounding to me that just someone entering your house is enough for you to be like, I'm gonna shoot them. What the fuck? Especially like, you know, and you know it's not just self-defense because he went out there. He didn't just stay in his room with his gun to be like, I'll defend myself if they come in here. It was actively going and finding them and pointing the gun at them. And it was their kid. And they didn't even apologize. People are scary. People are fucking terrifying. If you are that type of person, you shouldn't be allowed a firearm. In my just personal opinion, if you were just trigger happy, you should not be allowed a firearm. Anyway, this has been our dose of insane parents. I think that they were pretty horrible today. Some of them, just like, some people shouldn't have kids, and some people need to just reflect on themselves and their communication, because fucking hell. I hope that you enjoyed. Don't forget to leave a like, comment, and subscribe. A massive thank you to my Sprout and Above patrons whose names are up on the screen right now. I appreciate you greatly. And a huge, huge thank you to my Kiwi Cat patrons. Bobby, Josh, Mandy, Ikazel, Jessica, Eldo, Danielle, Elias, Chris, Samuel, Radsack, Mr. Noodle, Jonathan, and Bonbon. I love and appreciate you so, so much. Thank you so much for joining. If anyone else would like to become a patron, go to patreon.com/savvycat. Click the top link in the description. For as little as £1 a month, you get my videos a day early, as well as podcasts a week early. And then for £3 and up, you get things such as outtakes, bonus mini podcasts, live streams, vlogs, and more. Don't forget to follow me on Instagram, The Queer Kiwi, and Twitter, That Queer Kiwi. I hope that you enjoy the rest of your day. Stay safe. Keep fighting. I love you. Mwah. When you close your eyes.